Good morning, and welcome to the SAP Press Book Club. This morning's conversation is about our new publication, Industry 4.0 with SAP. I'm very excited here to have a panel of authors and an outside voice to incorporate some of his perspective on the Industry 4.0 topic as well. So thank you for joining us, and we're excited to have this conversation with you. You can reach out with questions to the SAP Press team on Zoom behind the scenes here, and they'll send their questions to me to address together at the end of the session. So first, we'll kind of talk through the book and this Industry 4.0 premise with our experts, and then we'll move into audience questions. So first, I'll introduce myself. My name is Emily Nicholls. I'm the publishing director at SAP Press, and I've gotten a chance to work with these authors for several years now, and I'm excited to get a chance to ask some questions of them about the writing process and this particular topic. So it's a pleasure to join you today, even though I'm not the usual book club host. So Dipankar, do you want to kick us off and kind of give us a sense of what your expertise here is and what you're currently working on?
Yeah, sure, Emily, thanks. And hi, welcome everyone. Good morning, good evening, wherever you are in the world. So my name is Dipankar Saha. I'm one of the co-authors along with my team here. So I work as a principal architect, mostly focusing on Industry 4.0 in Inkjet. Currently, I'm working as a principal architect and product owner for Industry 4.0. All through my career, mostly my focus is on Industry 4.0 and more specifically the SAP manufacturing solutions. Thank you.
Okay. Hello, everyone. My name is Soumya Das, and I am a SAP Manufacturing Solution Architect and Subject Matter Expert with a rich and diverse professional background spanning over 18 years. Currently, I am working with IBM Consulting for last 10 years almost. My journey in this field in the field of manufacturing has begun with the bachelor's degree in production engineering and followed by master's specialized in project management. So currently I'm leading numerous projects involving product solutioning, consulting, and implementation in core manufacturing area, as well as in Industry 4.0 area, collaborating with numerous global clients. Thank you.
Hi everyone. Good morning and good evening. Myself Chandan Jash. So I'm in SAP area around 18 plus years, mainly focusing on the manufacturing area, and currently with IBM as a technical consultant as well as a technical architect, and working on basically the manufacturing area, Industry 4.0 based implementation across the globe, implementation as well as the support area. Thank you. Thanks, everyone.
Hello, everyone. Welcome again for everyone over here. It's been a great day until now, and I'm sure it's going to be a great time ahead. My name is Anupkumar Ketkale, but you all can call me Anup. That's what everyone calls me, so it makes it simple. First thing. Okay, and I've been working in the Industry 4.0 domain for the past decade, and it has been an excellent experience, more on towards the consultative side of the industry, wherein I've been working with the senior management teams, the operations teams, the IT teams, right, to come up with roadmaps and build use cases, build business cases around Industry 4.0. And at Incher, I'm doing the same thing. I come from more on a solutioning side of the things. I work along with Dipankar here too, and that's about it.
My name is Henrik von Scheel. I'm best known as the originator of the Fourth Industrial Revolution. I've also been part of how to apply SAP in the real world. So been co-author on the ASAP methodology on how SAP is implemented today. Been doing the OMG standard for business process and BPM processes. So on how the systems, Oracle, SAP, how they work together and how the business process works on that. I'm excited to participate in that today. I'm also a professor at Arthur Locke University for the Executive MBA program on strategy management. So I'm excited to be here.
Well, Henrik, I want to start with a question to you first. Very easy. If we're setting the stage for the Industry 4.0 topic, let's do a quick review of the last few industrial revolutions. Can you briefly describe what those first three revolutions were and how we arrived at Industry 4.0?
Well, the first revolution was in England. That's the mechanic revolution on the textile industries. Then the second revolution, that's way up to 1800. The second revolution is in the beginning of the 1900. That's in the US. That's on the mass production line and on the electrification. Then the third revolution was around 1969 in the US, where IT started on the automation IT. The fourth industrial revolution is founded in Germany in 2008. It started actually with the German government being in a huge recession, where they were asking for a strategy which became the digital agenda for Europe, which is the digital theme you have today. And we realized very fast in that, when I did the strategy, that it's not 5 big trends, but it's 77 mega trends that are disrupting. And they are emerging in 8 different revolutionary phases. And that's what the fourth industrial revolution is about. The fourth industrial revolution is the most disruptive one of all of them, because it will change all aspects of how we interact, how we live, how we consume, how our operating system works. And at the core, SAP is a core function of that, right? So my excitement is that there's a book that is on Industry 4.0 in SAP, because it's highly needed. The book is a really good book. It touches some of the elements that are really important in cyber physical systems, in digitalization, and some of these elements that we'll go through today. But that's some sort of the shortest view of it.
Well, Dipankar, this book has been in the work with you for several years now. What prompted you to sit down and write this? Why is this the right time to come out with a book on Industry 4.0 and SAP? What was this process like?
Yes, thanks, Emily. That's a very interesting question. So this book we actually conceptualized almost 6 years back, when we actually even prepared the first draft of the book. Having spent more than around 20 plus years in the Industry 4.0 domain, consulting our customers, developing and implementing various solutions in this domain, we always felt that we need to have an overall guide, or the consultants who work in this domain, there is a need to have an overall guide for the consultants as well as the business stakeholders to understand the different nuances of Industry 4.0 and which solutions and which approaches or which are the architectures to follow for the implementation journey. Because ultimately it's a quite complex one involving multiple technology and solutions. So though we prepared that first draft of the book back then, we are not very ourselves satisfied with the content coverage at that point of time, what we are able to do. So over the years, the SAP solutions for Industry 4.0 got matured quite a bit. New solutions like, for example, SAP Digital Manufacturing, Asset Performance Management, and so on got introduced, which actually strengthened its Industry 4.0 offering. So also the methodologies for the maturity assessment, the different cloud platforms that were also maturing that time, and we felt those are the very important elements for the Industry 4.0 journey and needed to be covered in detail in the book, and which actually we aim that book to be a definitive guide for the consultants and the business stakeholders. Now, earlier last year, when SAP Press and Rheinwerk Publishing and you actually approached us to author a book on Industry 4.0 topic, we started again with a renewed focus and felt this is the absolutely right time to author and publish this book, having now able to cover all the relevant technologies, the solutions, the architectures, and the methodologies to provide an end-to-end holistic guidance for our readers to start and adopt their Industry 4.0 journey.
So who are those readers? What kind of roles are going to get the most out of your book, and how can they apply this?
Right, absolutely. So the aim of this book is to provide a clear understanding of the different concepts and technologies of Industry 4.0, along with the relevant SAP solutions and architectures, which are essential to start our Industry 4.0 journey from a customer standpoint. Now, as Industry 4.0 is not about a single solution or technology, getting the holistic understanding of the different solutions and how to define the architectures across multiple solutions and platforms is the key, which is one of the focus areas of the book. Now, what we feel that this book will help the consultants, the business stakeholders, the architects, as well as even the academic students. Nowadays, in many of the universities and colleges, this is the topic of research and study the Industry 4.0 topic and industrial IoT. So we believe, and while writing the book, we take utmost care on this aspect so that it caters to all the different personas, be it consultants, business stakeholders, architects, and the academic students who want to pursue this subject as a study of research, to understand and implement the Industry 4.0 technologies and solutions, and how to plan and execute these programs in a holistic approach. I mean, you can say this is our 20 plus years of experience we have put together in a single book, which we believe that it will benefit many who are interested to learn this topic. And also, like in the last chapter, which is the conclusion chapter of our book, in detail, we have kind of put together the different personas and which chapter or which part of the content will be relevant for which persona. That also we have explained in detail, so that, you know, as an architect, if you open the book, you can get an easy guidance on what are the areas you need to look into. As a technical consultant, if you open the book, you can get that easy guidance and so on.
Right. Yeah, I think that's a kind of a great way for folks to come into the book and kind of get a sense of what is here for them and where they'll go with it. Henrik, moving out from the individual readers to the broader manufacturing organizations, can you describe some of the challenges that those manufacturing companies are facing, both from a business perspective, perhaps their own supply chains, and an IT perspective around integrating all of these systems?
Sure. So I think the fourth industrial revolution's core epicenter is manufacturing. And manufacturing has some unique challenges by design, right? Because they're acquiring, they're producing, and they're shipping out, right? So their challenge is often cost constraints. So from that perspective, most manufacturers are suffering from Peter's principles, which is a challenge management principle. But the fourth industrial revolution creates something unique for them. So they need to, the first phase out of the 8 phases in the fourth industrial revolutions is digitalization. So if they have an inability to digitalize, they have no visibility over their supply chain. They have no visibility to connect to the suppliers. They have no visibility to go into the next area of operational excellence and so on, right? So here's what's good about the book, right? The book covers five of the key trends of the 17 technology trends, right? The book actually outlines on how you digitalize from SAP upwards and how you can focus on digitalization downwards, right? So why is SAP so important in the digitalization phase? Most manufacturers have not even started on the journey of digitalization, right? In scratching the surface, and they have an inability to really capture it, right? And SAP's strength is best practices and industry practices. And when you move from best practices and industry practices, this is where you can connect to the workflows. So it has huge opportunities within that, right? Now, the second opportunity within that area is when you go to AI, right? So everybody talks about AI, but SAP and the book already has a built-in module on how you automate what is already there, right? So without reinventing what is there, you already go to FICO and do robotic process optimization, right? You can save 15 to 25% on cost cuttings right there, right? It's no big rocket science, right? But it's already built in. So that's one of the elements, right? And without using too much time, I just want to use the last bit. SAP will be at the forefront of what I call the regulatory disruption. Europe is taking the lead on the CBAM, right? So the cross-border, the zero, the sustainability, the carbon credit, this, right? What is this actually changing? This is changing the hardcore business books of every company. And where is the business book of every company? It's in SAP, right? So that means if you change the core of your cost structure and financing and how you manage it, right? CBAM, so net zero, carbon credit. So CBAM is the emission on what you need to pay on every product that you get from your suppliers. You need to register it where you get from a supplier and who you get it from. And you need to pay the carbon tax either in the country it originates from, or in the country you have it to, or in the country you sell it to, right? when you just look at these 3 sentences, it creates a nightmare. Well, where can you manage a nightmare like that? When you already have, where's the product from? Who's the supplier? What's the invoice? What's the product from, right? So all of this in the Industry 4.0 is already outlined quite well in the book. It's a teaser.
Yeah, I'm excited to see what SAP is doing in the next few years with the carbon accounting and the sustainability question, and see how that data is filtered out from the supply chain and manufacturing processes trickling into accounting.
I just want to highlight there, right? CBAM is not a theory. CBAM for all European countries, everybody importing into Europe or selling to Europe needs to pay CBAM, right? It was ignited in October last year, and they have 1 year grace period, right? So October this year, every product, every company that sells something in Europe needs to pay carbon credit. Either show they have carbon credit for it, or they have to, right? So it's a verification process, and SAP is at the core of this verification process.
So, Dipankar, tell us what this looks like in practice. So, what is the kind of picture that many manufacturers have in their IT landscapes? What does this look like so far?
Right. Absolutely. So the most important point to understand that Industry 4.0 is not about a single technology or solution, but rather it's a combination of multiple solution platform technologies that in tandem help to realize the digital and the data fabric. Now let us consider a typical manufacturing plant having different legacy systems for manufacturing operations management. For example, the SCADA, Historian, MES, which all need to be integrated with the OT layer, that is the sensors and the gateways connected to the machines to get the relevant data. Ultimately, you need to collect the data, you need to contextualize it, and then you need to integrate that data, pass the data to your enterprise and cloud systems to complete the overall logistics and the production process. Now, the integration across so many different systems itself is a very complex task, and it's a very well-defined and scalable architecture. For example, unified namespace. Now, unified namespace is a very modern concept in the Industry 4.0 architecture domain, which is basically nothing but a semantic model of your plant assets with a hierarchical view, which ultimately can enable a real-time integration with the different systems through MQTT messaging, from which it can get the data, for example, from the PLC, SCADA, Historian sensors, as well as the business system, so that ultimately you get a single place where you can see the semantic model of your plant asset structure and the relevant data, the KPIs along with that. Moreover, also you need to create the workflows across the different systems, right? And Henrik was also earlier mentioning this. This is the most important key from a business perspective, and manage the events based on the data what are coming from your machines and the IT applications. And then you need to derive the insight to analyze the trend and so on. And at a more matured state, you should be able to do the predictive analytics to get notified about certain events, such as the machine breakdown much early actually, even before it happens to actually prevent it. Now, all this calls for different technical components and platforms to be integrated together using a very scalable architecture, so that you don't need to change it again and again once you introduce a new system, a new factory, or a new process.
So, Chandan, the bulk of the book focuses on kind of these 4 big bucket areas of SAP's Industry 4.0 portfolio, describing what they are from a vendor agnostic standpoint, what is this topic, but also introducing the various SAP solutions that support them. The first one is what SAP calls Intelligent Factory. What is the Intelligent Factory, and why is this important to Industry 4.0?
Yeah, thanks, Emily, thanks. First of all, thanks for giving me the opportunity to answer the question. So in very simple way, you know that what I can say that Industry 4.0 is just a concept in the manufacturing space. And Intelligent Factory helps us to bring that concept in reality through the implementation. So in you know that in today's competitive race, all the manufacturers, they are trying to focus on the customer-centric manufacturing processes, basically. So when they are focusing on customer-centric manufacturing processes, so it is very, very important to set up the production line as well as the production process in such a way so that it can support the dynamic changes as per the customized product variant. So Intelligent Factory here reduces what we can see, the physical dependency on the manufacturing shop floor. Obviously, by increasing the digital dependency on the manufacturing shop floor. As an example, the necessity of this we have seen during the COVID pandemic.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
So what are the SAP solutions that support this?
Yeah, actually, that is a good question. In this book, we have actually tried to cover the intelligent factory solutions and the architecture part as much as possible in details with the real life manufacturing examples, basically, which you can get in chapter 5. So at the beginning of this chapter, you can find the key characteristics of the intelligent factory and SAP S/4HANA manufacturing, SAP extended warehouse management, the warehouse robotics, all those things. Next, we have tried to cover basically the cloud-based solution from SAP side in manufacturing area, which is called now SAP Digital Manufacturing. Along with that, you will get the details of, functionality of digital manufacturing, like the digital manufacturing execution, the digital manufacturing insight, shop floor machine integration, the production process designer, the managing AI/ML scenarios, then obviously the enhancement as per the customer requirement, as per the business. What are the enhancement possibility and how we can do that? The architecture integration part, along with that, that SAP Digital Manufacturing for obviously the edge computing. Along with, we have covered the key benefits of the digital manufacturing. So when we are writing this chapter, one important thing we have covered here, what we need to focus, that is the SAP shop floor machine integration, basically from the SAP's perspective. And there you will get that production connectivity model, which is the one of the important thing here in this chapter, which helps to establish the connection with the shop floor equipment and the systems through the digital twin of the physical system. Here, the production connectivity models, helps to connect with the software system through the various protocol also, like as the OPC, the MQTT, and other obviously using the SAP plan connectivity. Another important thing we also covered here, that is the production process designer. So now production process designer and the production connectivity model together actually helps to establish the interaction between the shop floor machine and the SAP digital manufacturing as well. And also it helps to create the extension of the software manufacturing process, what we covered in this chapter. Along with that, another key important thing, what obviously I need to touch here, that is the SAP digital manufacturing for insights. Why it is important? It is important because it helps to analyze and optimize the shop floor manufacturing operations using the manufacturing data. So question obviously can come that how we'll get the data. The manufacturing execution data that is basically stored inside the MDO, which is the manufacturing data objects. We use that MDO and we can use the SAP Analytics Cloud, which is embedded again, and we can create our own dashboard, own report, very simple way, basically. So in this chapter, in each section, we actually tried to cover, explain the content as much as possible with the real life examples, by keeping in mind that the reader can map it easily with the manufacturing challenges and the solutions what they are facing day to day, basically.
So Soumya, the next one is intelligent products. What are intelligent products and how are these transforming the market?
So the SAP portfolio for intelligent product encompasses a range of solutions aimed at enhancing the traditional product with advanced digital capability, connectivity, and intelligence. So SAP portfolio for intelligent product empowers organization to innovate and differentiate in today's digital economy by transforming their product into intelligent connected asset that delivers enhanced value to the customers and stakeholders. So chapter 4 of our book focuses on intelligent products. We discuss the key component of intelligent product design and development, followed by its benefit and challenges. Moreover, we have discussed the pros and cons of intelligent product design and development for the existing products and the new product. And then once we explored the intelligent product design enablers available in the market, we are introducing the readers to the SAP Intelligent Product Portfolio that is one of the popular enabler available in the market. And then we demonstrated how it can be harnessed to create intelligent product as a part of Industry 4.0 implementation.
So what are the key solutions in that portfolio?
SAP Intelligent Product Portfolio comprise of 3 distinct products primarily. That is SAP Enterprise Product Development, or SAP EPD in short, that is provided as a SaaS solution. And then SAP Production Engineering and Operation, or SAP PEO. And then SAP Teamcenter by Siemens, which is a partner solution. We explored how SAP EPD, PEO, and SAP Teamcenter by Siemens contributes to make production process more efficient and digital serving as essential component of Industry 4.0 infrastructure. We have explained in detail about SAP EPD, which is a SaaS solution on SAP BTP, and how it streamlines the product design, accelerate time to market, and enhance collaboration for manufacturer to bring intelligent product to life efficiently than ever before. Next, SAP PEO, or Production Engineering and Operations. That is a module within SAP S/4HANA that bridges SAP EPD design with manufacturing, that empowers seamless production optimization, quality control, and real-time insight for superior product delivery. Added to that, integrating SAP PEO with SAP Teamcenter by Siemens, which is one of the market-leading PLM solution that empowers manufacturer with end-to-end visibility and control, that driving innovations and competitive advantages by leveraging centralized product data management and collaboration capabilities of Teamcenter.
So if I'm an SAP customer, do I need to implement all of these in order to take advantage of the intelligent products, or can I kind of pick and choose here?
No, we can pick and choose. We do not need to add up the entire portfolio. Based on our requirement, we can pick and choose any one of them or combination of them. So we can read our business requirement or of our customers' business requirement, and based on that we can customize our selection. Yeah.
Chandan, intelligent assets is the third here. What will readers learn about intelligent assets from the book?
Yeah, you know that like as the intelligent factory, so intelligent asset is another key pillar in Industry 4.0, even without which we can't complete the Industry 4.0 based implementation in this manufacturing process. So when we are thinking for an intelligent factory claims, first of all, the smooth and the operational asset as much as possible, that we know, so that we can support the zero downtime based production process. So in manufacturing, production performance also depends on the condition and the performance of the asset. So to support that, it is very important to keep the continuous asset health monitoring as well as performing maintenance activity on time, so that we can support the zero downtime during the production process. So intelligent asset solution also recommends that data-driven asset health analysis and predictive maintenance of the asset using intelligent technologies, multiple like as the AI, like as the ML, the IoT, all those things, which actually helps to improve the asset maintenance process as well as get the maximum utilization of the asset. Yeah.
Okay, so what are the SAP solutions that are most interesting in this space?
Yes, that is another important question. I mean, thing is that we have also tried to cover this thing in our book as much as possible in details on intelligent asset solution as well as the architectural part in chapter 6, just next after this intelligent factory one. So we have also tried to keep the same flow here, like as the chapter 5. So at the beginning, we'll get the concept of the intelligent asset and the key features of the intelligent asset solution. Along with that, we'll get the enterprise asset maintenance strategy, such as the breakdown maintenance, the preventive maintenance, the condition-based maintenance, and the predictive maintenance also. Next, we can get SAP S/4HANA asset management process, including the asset master data management, the asset management business functions, all those things. Next, we just focused on the cloud part, basically. So SAP's cloud-based solution on individual section, like as the SAP asset strategy and performance management, the SAP predictive asset insight. Nowadays, it is called together, combined together, and it is called asset performance management. We also touched the SAP's business network asset collaboration, which was previously known as the SAP Asset Intelligence Network. In SAP Asset Strategy and Performance Management section, where you can find that how it helps basically to get the better decision-making approach for maintenance planning to find out the failure probability with using multiple process like as the RCM process, FMEA process, all those, and it helps to optimize the performance of the asset. Next,
wait, sorry, tell me what is RCM?
Yeah, that is the resource capability management basically. That how it is helping basically in the process area. And next, actually, we have tried that predictive asset insight solutions, which explains the how it uses the combinations of the sensor data as well as the IT data together to get the digital insight of the assets. And it also helps the helps to get the predict basically the performance decrease as well as the malfunction of the assets through the different, advanced technologies, and also the AI, ML, and the digital twin. So here, you know that IoT actually creates a very good role, and that is very important because it helps to create the digital twin of the physical assets through the, data synchronization process. We have also touched the asset performance management, which is basically combination of both, that asset strategy and the performance management and predictive maintenance in a single solution. So at the end of this chapter, we also touch the SAP Business Network Asset Collaboration, which actually provides the cloud-based platform for the manufacturer, for the operator, as well as for the service provider. So, I can say that in each section, we have actually tried to incorporate the relevant architecture and the integration part as much as possible with the real-life challenges.
So before we move into the fourth pillar, I want to remind folks who are listening in to send questions to the SAP Press team, and we'll get a chance to answer those in about 10 minutes or so. So we want to hear from you. What are you curious about? What could we clarify? Soumya, the last people is the people component. How will this book help readers understand the potential for what SAP calls empowered people, the solutions and architectures? What's happening in this space?
Okay, so empowering people in manufacturing is all about, I think, providing autonomy, better convenience, while ensuring the personal safety. So chapter 7 in our book has been dedicated to explore and understanding the core of empowering people for Industry 4.0. So this chapter sheds light on essential consideration for intelligent personal safety and support system requirement that provides insightful solution to empower user as they embrace Industry 4.0. Chapter 7 introduces the SAP Empowered People Suite that consists of 3 different products. One is SAP Environmental Health and Safety, or EHSM in short, SAP 3D Visual Enterprise, and SAP Service and Asset Manager. SAP EHSM has been offered both in on-premise and cloud version, whereas SAP 3D Visual Enterprise is primarily as an on-prem offering. And SAP Service and Asset Manager is a mobile application which uses SAP BTP mobile service with the capability of integrating SAP S/4HANA on-premise system. So we have explained here how SAP EHSM offers a robust platform for managing environmental health and safety, fostering compliance and proactive safety culture through real-time monitoring and predictive analytics. Next, we have explored how SAP 3D Visual Enterprise empowers collaboration and informed decision-making through immersive 3D visualization for product design, manufacturing, and maintenance. Finally, we have explained SAP Service and Asset Manager mobile application that empowers mobile maintenance workforce to manage equipment, minimize downtime, and maximize productivity through streamlined operation and predictive capability that shall minimize disruption and ensure optimal performance.
So is this another place where, depending on the makeup of their manufacturing team and their specific business processes, organizations can kind of choose from the SAP portfolio of which human employee personnel-oriented solutions make most sense for their landscape?
Yes, as I said, that it is all about providing autonomy and equip the people to make their own decision while ensuring the personal safety. So every organization has its own definition. So based on their definition, they can pick and choose from the
And there might
portfolio.
be regulations attached to this also. So it might not be only organization to organization, but regionally determined by what safety processes are most required here.
True.
So we've kind of talked about the four major pillars. Dipankar, say a manufacturing organization thinks it might be ready to start embracing those those Industry 4.0 principles. What are the first steps here? How do we get moving in this direction?
Right, a very important question indeed. So as a first step, you need to understand the gaps and make a plan for the journey when you are starting something. So as the Industry 4.0 is a journey, it needs an initial as well as a periodic assessment on the maturity and the readiness of the organization to adopt Industry 4.0. And for that, you need to follow a structured approach to determine the maturity levels across the different dimensions which are relevant for Industry 4.0, like people, process, technology, and so on, and how ready you are as an organization for the Industry 4.0 adoption. Now, for the assessment helps you to understand the gaps where you need to improve, based on which you can ultimately define the roadmap for your Industry 4.0 adoption. Once you prioritize the different gaps using a prioritization methodology. So there are different such maturity and readiness assessment framework available, two of which are very popular and useful and used across the industry globally. These are called the Smart Industry Readiness Index, or SIRI, which was developed by the Singapore Economic Development Board with the World Economic Forum and currently managed by INSEAD, as well as ACATEC, which is defined and managed by the German Academy of Science and Engineering. So we have actually interacted with both this organization and covered this frameworks in detail in the book, in the chapter 9, how to use this assessment framework, so that you can get an understanding of how to use this framework for your own assessment and readiness determination, as well as the prioritization planning. So SIRI is the prioritization index. And it also explains how you can define the Industry 4.0 roadmap and the plan to execute such complex program, irrespective of whichever technologies or platform or solutions you might be using.
So speaking of priorities, I feel like sometimes the change management aspect of shifting a company manufacturing paradigm may sometimes get overlooked. Anup, can you tell us a little bit more about how change management comes into play, specifically around a transition as big as, embracing Industry 4.0 principles?
Right. I mean, it's an interesting topic. See, thing is, Industry 4.0 or implementing any solution in Industry 4.0 it's a very wide ecosystem. Okay, you have multiple stakeholders, you have multiple collaborators, you have to collaborate together, you have to co-live and grow together. Okay, and any change that comes into place, you always have a resistance. You will always have a resistance because either only the people part of it has been taken care of, or only technology part of it has been taken care of, right? But when it comes to Industry 4.0, which is a literally very disruptive program, which can holistically change your process, you will probably redesigning your entire business process or the system itself, right? I mean, it is needless to say that it requires a comprehensive change management, planning itself, and execution, because you are not working along only one dimension.
Right.
You're working people, process, technology, all three dimensions you'll be working along, right? And including people right from the start, to make them understand what are the problems, what are the priorities, to understand, right? I mean, every team has to understand each other and see how to prioritize the use cases, how to prioritize a particular initiative, right? This also includes planning to upskill, right? I mean, it's not just about bringing up a new technology to fulfill the process. So how do you upskill? How to plan that upskill, or your entire team itself, right? It's very important in that perspective, because one thing that a lot of organizations realized at a little bit in a later stage, that they had to restructure the team, they had to restructure their responsibilities, right, and upskill them accordingly, right? It has to be a very systematic, agreed governance structure for digital transformation topics like this, because it's a congregation of OT technologies, operational technologies, and information technologies, and they work in different ways. You're bringing them together at one single point, and then growing together for one single business value, right? One single business vision that you have. So in that perspective, I would say, I mean, you definitely need a lot of meticulous planning around it, along different elements of your change management, right? People, process, and technology, as we said. And you need a seamless execution for this.
I mean, it sounds like for manufacturing, there are so many different directions they can go in. That question of what is your current readiness and what are your priorities? Henrik, one thing you've talked a lot about in your work is something called thriving in uncertainty, or managing the present while creating the future. What does this phrase mean to you, and how can manufacturing organizations apply it?
Good question. Let me go a little bit off script, Emily, right? Because I was a little bit captured by what I heard from these guys. I read the book, and so I haven't read a single word. I haven't written a single word in this book, right? And the book is a milestone for SAP customers because even though they are describing the how, it highlights a clear view on how they can do Industry 4.0 from a roadmap of digitalization from the first level, right? And digitalization, even though we mentioned all these programs in details, it's in reality digital connectivity and sensing, then it's digital engineering, and then digital operations. And at each steps, they're describing in the book how to do that step to step. So personally, being the originator of the Industry 4.0, I've been waiting for SAP to help their customers to outline the next step, how to approach that, because they are the backbone of all the systems. They are the nervous systems in most organizations. And the nervous system will not work in a digitalized world when it's not connected. So personally, I think that's a huge milestone. Well, let's answer your question on uncertainty, right? There's two elements to it, right? How you need to see what's coming, and you need to be adaptable to what is there, right? So the Industry 4.0 is 77 trends emerging in different waves. And the first wave is actually that you are able to see digitalization. When you are not, digitalization today is like ERP in 2005, right? Where it was not a need anymore for SAP, but in order for you to be in business, when you're big enough business, you needed SAP or Oracle to stay in business to automate your processes. And the same way, you need to digitalize in order to enable your ERP system to work in the manufacturing, in the warehouse, with the robots, with the systems, with your warehouse, with your value chain, with your suppliers, with the verification on CBAM, right? So suddenly you need to enable a monster that is dormant. And that's what this book is actually telling a little bit about, right? So there's two aspects to uncertainty. One is strategy, and one is IT. You cannot take one without the other one, right? Actually, strategy by design is really simple. I know many of you define it yourself, so let me define it for you. That's very easy, right? The first step in strategy is that you decide on what not to do. The second step is you decide on where to differentiate. And the third step is to decide on what to focus on. And SAP is really relevant in that. Because if you go on your Industry 4.0 journey, you can decide on everything that is on the table that you want to eat. But first you need to decide on what is it I don't need to focus on. And then you need to focus on what is it that will help me to differentiate in my service, in my production line, in my connection to my customers, in my connection to my partners, in the quality of my product, right? What is it that will differentiate me? And this is then what you focus on within your SAP system to enable the value. So these are the three steps that you move down to tackle the monster.
Make it just a little bit more digestible.
Yes. So I love the book, by the way.
Well, I'm very glad. I have a reader question here. Are there any sub-industries within manufacturing or even individual SAP customers that you would call by name that you see as leading the way in this transition toward Industry 4.0? I leave this question open. Who is best to fit this?
Maybe I can take it up, and others can of course add as well. So I think it may not be correct to say that one particular industry is leading the way, but at the same time we see a lot of high traction from for Industry 4.0 recently in the automotive and industrial product segment. I will say, whereas chemical, life sciences, the food manufacturing industries, they were already quite advanced in terms of the operational data collection and control the execution based on the data. Now, what we see now is the concept of lights of factories being implemented often with a completely automated production line, where the machines are controlled automatically and the usage of robotic technologies are becoming widespread, as we can see day by day. What is also increasing more is deriving insight from the operational data, be it predicting the machine health or for the breakdown probability based on the operational data, or the product quality based on the operational characteristics data collected during the batch execution. So these are some of the growing trends, definitely, which actually are very much part and parcel of Industry 4.0 approach. And what is also very interesting and nowadays getting more and more importance is connecting digitally with suppliers and customers using the business networks, enabling a digital supply chain and providing the real-time view of the business process and any bottlenecks, if at all present, so that you can take some quick actions. And all these are becoming possible with the adoption of more and more digital technologies and integrating the IT systems with the cyber physical systems and enabling the data insights on top of that, and which are basically the key essence of Industry 4.0.
I mean, like Nokia, Rolls-Royce, Aramco, they are really advanced in their industry solutions on SAP. Not just a bit, a lot, right? They have invested a lot and they're really, really good at it, right? So some of these big clients, they have really gone far out to reach that.
And what I think is really neat is how these big companies are partnering with SAP, seeing SAP not just as a software provider, but someone who has, you know, the software development skills that can match what these organizations are doing, how they're specializing. And so I've heard a lot about the innovation partnerships between SAP and some of its major customers to kind of further the field together. One question from our participant: does Industry 4.0 work with EPC projects when an organization does not manufacture but only assembles at the client site?
I think I can try to attempt that one actually. Yes, definitely. Even at the EPC locations like engineering projects, right, it does apply, because it's not only about manufacturing, you're also looking at supply chain and assembly. I would take it as an operation. So making sure that your operators or whoever is on the field, right, making his life easier wherever you can, right, bringing in your operational technology and IT together, right. Let's say the demand is coming in from one system and you have to manage assembly operations, which might be an automated assembly line itself, right. Either that, or it could be just making sure that your supply chain is, you have the right kind of visibility in your entire supply chain, right. You have the traceability, you can track, trace your products. Is it arriving now? Are you monitoring the condition of the products that is in the transit? I would account all that often in the Industry 4.0 solutions.
Next question is, are there maturity models or roadmaps for implementing Industry 4.0 with SAP solutions? What are the best practice steps for implementation after ERP? I think maybe Chandan or Dipankar, this was perhaps the Siri model or the Apotek model?
Yeah, so if I get the question correctly, is it about the maturity assessment frameworks? What is there?
Maturity models and roadmaps for implementing Industry 4.0.
Okay. Right, exactly. So basically, if you follow any of the standard maturity models, like for example, the CD framework, maturity assessment model rather, or the Apotek framework, it helps us to, it provides a set of questions and helps us to assess on different dimensions, the technology, the people, process, leadership, communication, and so on. It helps us to understand that what are the, the level of improvement or the level of maturity what we have, right? And that will give us a kind of framework by which we can kind of prioritize, like what are the areas we need to mature. So it is not about a particular technology or a solution. It is more about, the approach or the process that what you need to take. That is what you mature as a business or an organization, how mature you are. And then you think of the technology and solutions. Like, for example, it's the visibility, right? Visibility across your supply chain, visibility across your manufacturing process. That is where you need to mature. So that means you need to bring in some kind of analytic solution, some kind of applications which will give you the visibility with the real data, right? So then the technology comes at the next step. But first, what you need to understand using this maturity assessment model is, from a business standpoint, what are the areas where you can actually improve? What are the really gaps? And then the framework actually help you to do the prioritization as well across these different gaps, so that you can create a roadmap out of that based on your prioritization.
So I think the next question is related to this. How can you change, given ongoing challenging supply chain issues, make sure that your manufacturing is still up and running? So I think the question is, how do we create the roadmap while simultaneously maintaining our existing manufacturing? Is there a cutover moment where you all of a sudden incorporate Industry 4.0 practices, or are you slowly doing this piece by piece, since you need your existing manufacturing processes to continue working?
Right.
Nick?
I mean, I can take this up. But thing is, yes, what you said is correct. It is essential that you go and take it up piece by piece, because a large change bringing up together can be really, you could say, overwhelming for an organization to bring the change up and maintain that and make it sustainable, right? I mean, that solution has to be sustainable too. You have to stabilize that solution. You have to make sure that the users are using it rightly, right? So it is a process, it is a journey, and I would rather call it as a continuous improvement process when I speak about Industry 4.0, because all in all, you are trying to make your processes lean. You're trying to break through that glass ceiling, which you were trying to break through until now, maybe using Six Sigma or lean processes, and now it is coming to a saturation point, and you are trying to find different ways through digitalization to break through that glass ceiling, right? So take it up by piece, bring up one solution, implement it at one plant or one manufacturing line, bring up that change, see it is stabilized, you're bringing in the business value, and then scale it up. Have maybe a proof of scale and then scale it up. So yeah, I think that would be the best approach to go, but anyone can add more to this.
Henrik, go for it.
Henrik first, right?
Well, the Industry 4.0, if you implement it with SAP, is impact driven, right? So I would actually outline it in 5 different buckets. And I think the book already does it, right? Think about, you have 5 children, right? One child is simple operations, and 70% of any organizations is simple operations. So it's cost driven. You standardize it in SAP. That's why SAP is so strong in that. You optimize it and you transform it, right? Then you have the 15%, which is the complex operations, where SAP is also very strong. And this is where you say, okay, everything which is in warehouse management, it's where you're industry specific and you alter everything which has a performance driven nature. You need to align, transform, and focus on workflow and digitalization. Whereas it's a simple operation, you focus on integration and optimization. The simple operations support your complex operations. Your complex operations is where the value derives, right? Remember, non-core, industry specific, non-core, you're in hyper competition, industry specific. You need to be minimum as good as your competition, so performance matter, right? The other 3 children are only the 5%, so let's not discuss that. But in reality, I would only focus on these 2 elements to say, is it non-core? Then it's cost-driven, standardize it, optimize it. If it's complex by nature, anything with warehouse management, anything with production line, anything which is performance-driven in nature, you align it, transform it, focus on workflow efficiency, right? So you don't have a level of standardization very high, but low, because it has a workflow to it. Everywhere where there's a workflow to it, you can take value out of SAP. If you standardize it into SAP, you deployed the value. So this is like the 2-edged sword where you say, yes, no. That was the shortest way.
This question, I think maybe, Henrik, you'll be able to speak to, for the EU carbon CBAM tariffs kicking off in 2025. how can companies integrate their SAP industry implementations and their global SCM delivery supply chains with SAP?
So there are 5 laws that are hitting companies. It's the Fit for 55, which is already 14th of June came in. Then it's the European climate law that's already came in 21st July 2003. Then the European Green Deal, which includes the CBAM, right? And then the sustainability financial disclosure, meaning you need to disclose the money flow you have, which in companies you have invested in, which companies you do partnership with, which value chains you work with. You need to disclose this, right? And then you need to have a certification program, right? That means that whatever product you get in and out, you need to show where you buy the carbon credit, or if you partner set it off. So carbon credit is by design a tax, right? Either you pay tax in the country, or you can show that your partner paid tax, or you are deploying for the tax. So this is one of the few elements that SAP can add a competitive advantage. SAP could never have a competitive advantage because SAP is only comparative advantage. This is the first time where it goes core to the book. You can have an advantage on CBAM, on your verification, on how you can be 1-2 steps ahead of your competition with the monster you have in your backbone, right? It can be the value creator that they have been investing in for so many years, and they're complaining that they get no value out of it. This is the chance for them to get value. But when you need to get value out, you need to invest first money in order to get the value out, right? It's part of the value-based model that you need to focus on. So the regulatory disruption is for SAP clients the biggest opportunity. If they have their own house in order on integration, optimization, digitalization, then they can go to verification. And what's the opportunity for them? If you're a tier 1 supplier and you have tier 2, tier 3 supplier, the tier 1 supplier can make money on the tier 1, tier 2 supplier based on the carbon credit, because it's a digital asset that comes in your balance sheet. When it comes in your balance sheet, you can leverage it, right? So suddenly you enable them to be the powerhouse in their own SAP balance sheet. This is like the gold mine.
The person who asked the question says, Henrik, very good answer. So this requires a lot of documentation and proof of record, integrating Industry 4.0, FICO, and SCM. So this is where all of those systems kind of come together and offer some a big impact. We're coming up at the end of our time. Dipankar, Soumya, Chandan, Anupkumar, and Henrik, are there any closing thoughts that you would offer readers, participants, as they're absorbing this new direction and starting to think about next steps for their organizations?
Right. I think from Industry 4.0 perspective, as we discussed, like it's not about understanding one technology or solution. It's a whole journey, right? Where you have to learn how to do the maturity assessment, how to do the design and architecture, and then realize the solution, change management using different solution and so on. So, I mean, that is what we have tried to cover. That is what we felt was missing earlier as a single guide. And we do hope that our readers will find it useful, but we are very much interested to know the feedback from the readers. So my request and our request to the readers are, to share your feedback with us. You can connect with us in LinkedIn as well. And you can share the feedback to the publisher as well. And we'll be very much looking forward to that.
Yeah.
And, folks who are here for the book club, there's a 15% off coupon code. That code is bookclub15. We like Dipankar said, we, the publisher, we want to hear from you. What worked for you? What additional questions do you have? What we imagine that this book will need to be maintained over the next decade. As the technology evolves and as more and more organizations make this transition. So we want to hear from you. Definitely reach out and share your feedback with us. But for now, I want to thank the 4 authors who have put hundreds of hours into this publication alone, let alone the outside work that they're doing. and to Professor von Scheel here for joining us and offering his outside perspective. I've really enjoyed our conversation, so I'm grateful to all of you to participating in this episode of the SAP Press Book Club.
Thank you so much.
Everyone.
Thanks to Professor Scheel and Emily and SAP Press in supporting us. That's a really awesome journey. And yes, thanks to all the readers, the audience who have joined and listened to us. As I said, we are very much looking forward to all of your feedback.